Good morning, good afternoon. But it's your show, my show.
No, your show.
No, it's actually his show. We are in his show.
Let me just take it. So we invited IoT Coffee Talk, the famous and most random YouTube podcast about IoT. Very time zone friendly. You guys are.
Yes.
You look always like you just came out of the shower, and you look like you just picked up the kids.
Exactly.
And sometimes I'm a guest. So this is IoT Coffee Talk on tour.
IoT Coffee Talk on
first
tour.
one.
Yes. So my question to you guys. So little less random. So what? After all these years of random chatter and rants, like what are the three things that sticked and took with you?
Oh man, you really cut to the chase, didn't you?
Yeah, you now on a jet lag. So, but you can just also start a. Go.
Yeah. Okay. So no, we really appreciate it. So to our IoT Coffee Talk listeners, viewers, welcome. We're here in Amsterdam at the Things Conference 2022. Right? Isn't that awesome? And so I'm here with Marc, Pous, and Wienke,
Pous.
Pous. Okay.
Pous.
So this whole time I've been pronouncing his name
Yeah,
wrong.
during
Right.
2 years, yeah.
Yeah, and then we have the illustrious Wienke. Yeah, and we're going to keep it real here in Amsterdam, right, at the Things Conference. And, for those of you who watch our show, and for those of you who don't, I mean, what we really try to do with the IoT Coffee Talk is just have an organic, natural conversation about everything IoT and tech. And one of the things that we really wanted to do on the show is just capture like some of these conversations that we have offline, right? When we're not on camera, but now we're on camera. So we're going to bring some of that back to bring it live to you from actually this really wonderful event here that the Things Industries has put together to bring the LoRaWAN community together to keep that ball rolling, right? And IoT and making IoT happen. And it's just a really fantastic event here because you get to hang out with developers, people who actually build things, right? And those are the people that we love. And, thanks, man, for having us.
Thanks, you're here.
Huh? No, not yet.
No. So Marc, you had your talk yesterday, and you just came in yesterday. So just that, like as outside IoT, always critical thinker. So what's your take on this conference?
Yeah, always a hard question to me. No, I think it's amazing to see the vibe of the people, right? We have been at home, right, during almost 2 years. This is why we started the IoT Coffee Talk, because of the pandemics. So we decided to do it just to exchange, our thinking and everything. Meanwhile, we were at home. So coming back to events, I think it's you can see the positive vibe of the people. On the other hand, I think, the things on the LoRaWAN scenario has evolved well, right? We can see more interactions with other type of connectivities, more technologies, machine learning. 2 years ago, before COVID, we didn't have any machine learning being used with LoRaWAN networks, for example.
With Edge Impulse and kind of like the demo you're doing with the vision analytics and people counting or something. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. So it's I think the market changed a bit. The thing that we need, is to find like the target audience that wants to buy these things, and we start to try to find companies who start have success selling their solutions.
I think it's a hope what we show here that there at least is bottom-up success, right? It's not the like, and I mean you are the hotshot that is always talking with the big CEOs of the module makers, the chipset makers, the telcos, and I'm really curious what you see. Like you see here the bottom-up growth. Like we said yesterday, we're going to register a millionth device. So same thing. You talk to the CEO of Qualcomm, right? And 1 million for him is nothing, right?
Yeah.
So where do you see these top-down corporate IoT, let's say, engagements and this kind of engagement coming together? Do we already touching, or is it still disconnected?
No, it's totally disconnected.
Okay.
That's why we have our show.
That's why
No.
I mean,
you know what?
we don't need him, right?
Yeah, I mean, the way I look at it is opportunity, right? Because as you start to bridge the gap, you settle into a middle ground where you actually now focused on value, and that's what we always talk about on IoT Coffee Talk, right? I mean, it's not about what is your path to valuation; it's what's the path to value.
Yeah, yeah.
And I think that's something that a lot now has actually started to surface in terms of the dialogue here. In the IoT community, especially here, and I observed that. I mean, we're now talking about actual deployments. It's not about we plan to or we're piloting. There's actual deployments of IoT solutions, LoRa-based IoT solutions, or LoRaWAN-based IoT solutions out in the wild, right? At a large scale. I mean, this is stuff that we didn't necessarily see before, right? And so we're seeing some good positive signs where it looks like we're coming out of the POC stuff that we've been talking about for like 2 years, right? Since we started the show. I mean, really, when we started the show, one of our first episodes was why, it's like how to get out of, IoT POC hell or purgatory or whatever, right? But now we're,
I love what you're saying is that this different things, that there is path to valuation, which was super nice. Like people saw Twilio going at a 50x multiplier on their yearly revenue, which was not even like recurring a subscription.
Yeah.
And now because that multiplier is so much less, all of a sudden I think there's this big opportunity where people can focus their effort again, not on to push their valuation almost artificially, but to actually push for value. And I think a higher interest, if you look at, for instance, these million devices that we have provisioned, all of them result in lower general OPEX, lower labor pressure, right?
Yeah.
So, and not that we are living in a time that you need to fire somebody, you just can skip an open position, right? Yeah. And the third one is lower CO2 emissions. And I think that kind of value creation is what you see. And from a corporate top down, it's a tough time, right? Like if you could tell to your investors, Twilio goes at 50x and I'm the Twilio of XYZ, then I say, hey, 50x is the benchmarks, let's do this. And I think it's really good because in the end, it's consuming the path to valuation is actually consuming a lot of talent, which is scarce, that we actually need in path to value.
Yeah.
So I am very bullish on everything now. Yeah. It's also because it's going pretty well, right? But I think it's really enough. And your criticism to constantly on IoT Coffee Talk banging on that corporate kind of path to valuation.
But I mean, that's what we talk about all the time, right? It's, I think one of the things that we always talk about is that, if folks are familiar with the hype curve, there's that, peak of inflated expectations. Yeah. We kind of call that thing that goes up like that the hump of nonsense, right?
Yeah.
Once you cut through that, there is value. But that's the thing. What we try to do on the show is really distill all that silliness, and it is silly. It's absolutely silly and distracting, and then help people get their mindset fixated on literally the customer, right? Instead of these like inflated numbers that have never been met, right? Get them focused on the customer, because customer equals value. Yeah. And it sounds like such a simple thing, but people don't do it,
it has been a complete waste of entrepreneurial talent that all this focus on stupid valuations, right? Like it's like, I mean, I was like, if you want to be an entrepreneur and chase valuation, like you basically have a corporate job, right? Like what's the whole fun in being an entrepreneur then, right? Like you just...
Yeah, but this is maybe this is another topic, that is the startup rodeo, right?
Yeah, true. But it's broader than IoT.
I want to ask you a question that I think I already asked several times, but I don't have like a clear answer. Sometimes I see it black, sometimes I see it white. Do you think that the connectivity is a driver for an IoT solution for the growth? So, do the companies who want to build a product need to start with the connectivity as the first thing to choose before developing the product?
Yeah, if you look at the complete stack, right, connectivity is a small, humble part, and
on price as well, right?
So the connectivity, the price, all the dynamics and the compromise you have within the decision you can make on connectivity, and that requires a world of education, but also a bit of experimentation, right? So like you're gonna experiment with all kinds of ways to put this little data point from A to B. I think what is really helpful in let's say, the previous 12 months of some sort of consolidation is that the knowledge in the industry on when to choose what has never been this good. And there is some level of rationalization going on. And rationalization also by even scraping ideas. It's like, let's not do this. Let's not do this. Let's do that. Wow, they're doing 150,000 with this connectivity. Wow, there is some kind of business alignment, business IoT alignment almost, right? In the IoT stack and the business. So let's zoom into that. Okay, but how can we repeat that? How we can repeat that in another business case? So I don't think that the connectivity choice is something that's really as present as a discussion and a topic than it was 3 years ago. It's more like, this is the IoT stack. There's more things, right? Like, am I going to use like a over-engineered IoT platform, or going to use an Azure function or an AWS Lambda, which does the same thing for 2 cents a month, right? I think that's the conversation we're having. And then you go through their stacks. Like, okay, do I need an IoT platform? Actually, no. I just need to do one operation on my webhook and pass it along to my SAP that I already have. And then connectivity just fits in. And then also because you have this decrease in top-down nonsense of valuation, you also don't have this pressure where you have this misinformation in the markets that we're the best, we're the de facto standard, we are this, we are that. Like, that's, yeah.
Did he just say a bad word?
Did I say a bad word? De facto standard. No. Yeah. So, but I'm saying it as but you understand. I'm saying it as the industry that industries that say that.
That's how we do it in IoT Coffee Talk.
It's not allowed. You can put a turd emoji.
This is not for children.
You know, the amazing thing is I actually can. So
okay, yeah.
You're gonna see that.
So that's a really long answer to a simple question.
No, it's what I say. Sometimes I see it black, sometimes I see it white, because I see, companies are more and more mature these days, and it's not like influenced by like big.
But it's a nonsense thing to say for us to say you should use LoRa. It's like it's someone randomly, like somebody coming into a shop, is that you need a hot dog, right? It's pull. Like you come into a shop, I pull stuff out of the shop, I buy it, and then I go home, and then you leave me alone, right? In IoT, sometimes people come into the shop and then you ask the IoT shop, I want a screwdriver. Oh, do you also want a hammer? So, what?
No, but at least the problem that I saw is that, I don't know, companies want to build a product and they go to specific engineering, and that engineering only has knowledge about cellular connectivity. Yeah. Just to give an example. So they are gonna give you NB-IoT or
but that's what I'm saying. I think there's a broader like knowledge in the market of the people that are independent. Either they're working as an enterprise developer or they are actually hired as a consultant to be. I think the world is more simpler because we're creating less choice. Because there's a natural.
No, there are now use cases, right? Successful use cases, on technologies that you can say, hey, if you want to do A, we have these and that.
And so let's have that conversation, right? And then, okay, can you imagine your business case also fitting in the same stack as the other business? And then actually it's like, this way. Okay, what's the compromise? What do we need to change? And then you basically pick these boilerplates, and then you're gonna adapt. I mean, that's why open source is also so important, right? Yeah. And one of the things I think is going to be a massive enabler for for our type of IoTs. So just an example, I know, have you ever worked with Airtable as a low-code, no-code platform? Airtable, it's like what they call like Google Sheets on steroids.
Yeah.
We're using that for all kinds of business processes in our company, and we're now gonna look and adopting these enterprise process automation tools that are like easy as Slack, and using them to build IoT apps. There will be game changing. Just like Slack changed the usability of corporate communication, you will have like a company that will come from a completely different direction and grab all that IoT value and will be able to distribute it because it's a platform play, and it can address a long tail and therefore grow the market. So I think there's going to be something. And so again, like, we're not talking about IoT. We're not talking about LoRa, not talking about LoRaWAN.
One last question before I give you the mic. Sorry. On IoT Coffee Talk, you have to fight to talk. So yeah, it's really.
Yeah.
No.
And now you don't control Zoom. This is very uncomfortable for you. You could always like.
No. Then you talk with a lot of companies. So and now, you were talking about some examples. Did you see business model changes on companies who started to adopt these IoT solutions, or this is still not a reality?
This is the big promise, right? Like, you know, the Michael Porter thing on Harvard Business Review. He created this like almost IoT maturity model. So you come for efficiency and you go home with a new business model. That is a very nice strategic fairy tale, which you would love to read on Harvard Business Review.
Yeah.
And if you're allowed, after your like third article, right? Like the paywall they have. So, but it's now efficiency, and it's not a bad thing, right? And the only thing I see is that people come in for one use case. And then, like, we have a situation that then, for instance, just for the sake of economies of scale, there are more sensors in the device. And all of a sudden, the other sensor readings are way more interesting than I ever thought. So for instance, like, you have these fill rate sensors of silos, and you want to measure the fill rate of like dry commodities. But for instance, actually, the movement sensor is way more interesting. Like, why is somebody touching my silo at 2 a.m. at night, right? Like. Yeah. Like, that information is way more interesting. Yeah. So I think you see some synergies, and definitely there are network, like this kind of synergetic, like sensor kind of values. But I like this business model transformation. I don't see it.
You don't see it yet. Okay.
And I agree. By the way, I just want to tell you, you stole a comedic moment. You do that all the time on the show. I just want to confront you right now about that.
Okay, great. We're going to do a
Yeah, but by the way, that's one of the classic lines on our show by this gentleman right here. It's, let me agree to disagree with you, which is actually when some of the best stuff happens. But yeah, no, you know what? I'm going to agree with you. I think a lot of the academic narrative is hijacked where the focus needs to be in the community, in pursuing value. This whole idea of, like, you know, all of a sudden IoT creating these new SaaS type or, you know, asset as a service type stuff. I mean, it's just so aspirational, and it puts the investment community's perspective out of whack. And I think these are like all these challenges and issues that we've been suffering, or the community has been suffering for a really long time. So, I mean, it's really good that you brought that up.
Creating new business models it's not something you do like normal people do, right? Normal entrepreneurs don't do that. They use existing. Right. So in a previous life, I created a Dutch Netflix, and then Netflix came to the Netherlands, and then you can imagine what happened with the company. And we created we tried to push the subscription business model. And what you have to understand is that if you want to do something as a service, you have to be at least 5 to 10 times cheaper than a la carte, right? Netflix was 10 times cheaper than renting DVDs, right? Yeah. When they launched. So not a lot of companies can can afford that
Right.
that thing. So at business model transformation, it's nice for consultants, but it's not something that is happening in real life.
Yeah, right. And so if you focus on brass tacks, the first order of value for IoT, then you'll start to move the ball exactly like you said. And visibility, we talk about it all the time. It's like start off with visibility, having better visibility to your business in as many aspects that are actually valuable. It's not about connecting everything, right? And that was like one of the cool things that came out of our conversations last night is it's like, why we're not going to be connecting everything. We're going to connect what's valuable, and that factors in is going to be actually informed by the economics of things like connectivity, the cost of the device, the cost of services of actually deploying the stuff, and the full life cycle, right? And those are the things that we have to constantly talk about. Not, oh, hey, look, you're going to reinvent your non-existent businesses in many instances. So,
cool.
Yeah,
Shall we wrap this up? Are we good?
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, we do have more questions or not?
No, I'm cool.
Let's also keep it a bit. So it's not that we're not going to fill the entire hour, I guess.
No.
Let's do something that a friend of the IoT Coffee Talk do. That he always shows Twitter. So yeah, in a memory of Rob Tiffany, let's find what he cooked yesterday.
What he cooked?
So yeah, he always show what he cooked on the show. So let's try.
Oh,
what do you think? It's a pizza
ribs.
or
I like when I look at him on Instagram. It's always like
chili something.
Yeah, it's the American cuisine.
I don't find, but just let's put his picture on the stream so everyone can know these guys. Rob Tiffany, he used to be on the he always appeared on the IoT Coffee Talk. And he cooks a really interesting recipe. So
yeah, for him it's now like 2 a.m.
Yeah, maybe it's too early to call him.
No, let's not call him.
But thank you for inviting us at the Things Conference. It was really, really good. Hope that this positive vibe can be here, or we can see more millions of devices connected.
I hope it's contagious and people take it home. Yeah.
No, I'm sure. Yeah, it will. Absolutely.
So remember to like, subscribe, share at www.iotcoffeetalk.com. Brought to you by Things Industry here at the Things Conference 2022. And we are out.
But maybe we can say goodbye in Dutch, right?
Okay. Come on, man. Why you have to? That was a perfect ending, man.
Yeah. Okay. Let's do it. See ya. That's a perfect ending.